Einstein once said, if I had an hour to save the world, I would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and just 5 minutes working on the solution. Now, Einstein knew that actually if you're faced with a problem, faced with a challenge, the best thing to do is make sure you're solving the right challenge and that you're not going down some rabbit hole and having ideas which are going to end up not working properly or going to be out of context. I'll give you an example of this in action. As a Toyota executive once asked his workforce, he asked, how can I make you more productive? Now, the exec was faced with blank stares. All the employees, well, I haven't got a clue. I don't know. How can we be more productive? It wasn't until the Toyota exec then had another look at what he was asking. And he came back and said, well, look, how can I make your jobs easier? After he asked that, he had absolute floods of responses. Everyone could think of a way they could make their job easier. So what he did, he changed the word productive, he substituted it for easier, and it then resonated with people. It gave them the context that they could start having the right ideas. And this is very important. Often we need to take a step back and look at our challenge in many different ways to make sure it is in the right context, to make sure we're not struggling to fight against preconceptions and that we can have the right ideas. I often play a game with groups I call Re-Expression Whispers. Now, this is based on the classic child's game I played when I was at school called Chinese Whispers. I believe it's called telephone in other parts of the world. But the Chinese Whispers, we know everyone, you sit in a line, you whisper something to your neighbour. And as it goes down the line, this gets more and more distorted and the end message is far different from when it started. Re-expression whispers is when you purposefully change the challenge that someone says to you. So your goal is to change the words, reframe it, just make sure that it's different from what's been said to you before. Once this has gone down 3, 4, 5 people and so on, you have just this wealth of different ways of interpreting a challenge, and you get a great starting point to start finding those right ideas. You can play this game on your own. The whole point is just make sure you are looking for as many different ways of stating that challenge as possible. Then you're in a much better position to decide where to go and where to start finding those ideas. There's a lovely story I came across, and it's a bakery in New York. And this bakery, one of the main things they do is they bake brownies. And they provide Ben & Jerry's with brownies for their chocolate fudge brownie ice cream, very popular. But the thing about this bakery is they actually take homeless people off the streets. So they give homeless people a better quality of life. The whole point of the bakery, the whole ethos when it started, was not to hire people so that they can do business, but to do business so that they can hire people. And that's a wonderful example of looking at the challenge in different ways and solving a social issue and combining that with business at the same time. So there you have it. Always take your challenge, rework it, reshape it. Never look at it as you get it fresh. Make sure you're solving the right challenge and you're armed with multiple amounts of inspiration to make sure you can start working towards something which is going to provide the most effective solutions.